Doesn't matter if I win the tournament in Miami or if I lose first round, I know I'm here and I'm here to stay.
She had just walked off Stadium 1. The score still hanging in the air 6-2, 6-0, 55 minutes. And yet, when the microphone found her, this is what came out. It doesn't matter if I win the tournament in Miami or if I lose in the first round. I know I'm here and I'm here to stay. 20 years old, fresh off the worst scoreline of her Indian Wells campaign, and she said that this is the story of why that loss might be the most important moment of Alex Eala's career so far.
From the beginning to the end, you played some incredible tennis tonight. Just way too much for her.
Before we get to the collapse, let's talk about what she had already survived that week, because context matters here. Eala didn't float into the round of 16. She earned it. A hard-fought three-set war against Diana Yastremska had already pushed her to the edge physically and mentally. That alone would have been enough for most players her age to call the week a success.
I was using my serve a lot, obviously putting as much pressure as I could.
Then came Coco Gauff, and Gauff didn't finish. She retired at 6-2, 2-0, with Eala in complete control. Just like that, a 2-0-year-old from the Philippines was standing in the last 16 of one of the biggest tournaments on the planet. In the span of a few days, she stopped being just a promising prospect and became a national conversation. Filipino fans packed the stands. The noise around her name grew louder by the hour. And then the draw gave her Linda Noskova. Quick pause. Is Alex Eala your pick to crack the top 10 by the end of 2026? Drop your yes or no in the comments right now. We're coming back to this. When Miami, Madrid, Rome, and Roland Garros start asking the same question. Here's the thing about Noskova. She didn't arrive at that match nervous about the occasion. She arrived prepared to dismantle it. Seeded 14th, she had no interest in being a stepping stone in someone else's breakout narrative. She came in with a game plan and she executed it without mercy. The break came in the very first game. Then another hold, then another. And before Eala could find her footing, it was already slipping away. 8 consecutive games. A 6-2 opening set turned into a 6-0 second. The whole thing was over in 55 minutes. Noskova said it herself afterward. She felt prepared from the very first ball to the very last. Her serve was a weapon, her pressure on the rallies was constant, and she gave Eala absolutely nothing to work with. That is the straightforward version of what happened, but the real story is what Eala did next. Let's not dress it up. The statistics from that match were a masterclass in one player completely controlling another. Noskova served 7 aces. Eala served none. Noskova won nearly 7 out of every 10 points, played 56 of 82. Eala managed just 26, and in the entire match, Eala earned just one break point. One moment where the door cracked open even slightly. Noskova slammed it shut. 100% of break points saved. That is not a close match that went the wrong way. That is a state. There's a certain mercy in a long match. 3 sets, 2 hours, a few momentum swings, at least you can tell yourself it was close. At least the story feels complicated. This wasn't complicated. 55 minutes on Stadium 1 at Indian Wells. It was quick enough to feel like a blur and slow enough to feel like every single point was intentional. There was no gray area, no what if, just the score. When the last point ended, Eala dropped the ball to the ground. It sounds small, but watch that moment again. That wasn't a tantrum. That wasn't resignation. That was an athlete making a deliberate choice to put the disappointment down, leave it on that court, and not drag it across the country to Miami. For a 2-0-year-old, in that moment, under that spotlight, that is not a small thing. The easiest thing she could have done in that press conference was perform bravery. Smile through it, say the right things, give everyone the quote they expected. She didn't perform anything. It was a tough pill to swallow, she said. No sugarcoating. But then, in the very next breath, I do leave with happiness. I made the 4th round of Indian Wells. That's something I'm genuinely proud of. Both things, completely true, said at the same time. That is not a rehearsed answer. That is someone who actually knows who they are. And then she said it. The sentence that turned a 6-0 second set into something else entirely. I know I belong here. She called the match a learning experience. She said it wasn't positive, but she believed it would have a positive impact on where she's going. And then she looked ahead. It doesn't matter if I win Miami or lose in the first round. I know I'm here and I'm here to stay. You can 6-0 someone's scoreline. You cannot 6-0 someone's belief, not when they've already decided it doesn't live on the scoreboard. When a 2-0-year-old handles a loss like that, the first reaction is to wonder if she really means it or if she's just saying the right things. That's why the voice of former WTA top 10 player and tennis analyst Coco Gauff matters here. She specifically highlighted Eala's mental fortitude and maturity at Indian Wells, and Gauff has been in enough press conferences to know the difference between words and character. She wasn't grading a backhand. She was recognizing the one thing that outlasts bad results. This moment was never just about a tennis match for Filipino fans. BNP Paribas Open's own coverage noted that supporters turned up in droves across her matches, filling seats, making noise, treating every Eala point like it belonged to all of them. So when she walked off that court at 6-0 and still held her head up, it didn't just feel like her spine staying straight. It felt like everyone who came to watch her standing a little taller too. That is the kind of athlete you build a fan base around. Miami is already circled. And after that, Madrid, Rome, Roland Garros. The clay season doesn't ask for good weeks, it asks for proof over time. Here's the honest prediction. If Eala keeps making deep runs and keeps showing up to the press conference the way she showed up after Noskova the ranking climbs, it has no choice. Consistent second weeks are how top 20 happen. And when you factor in that Rafael Nadal's own reaction to her earlier this season was reportedly framed as a legend, recognizing what tennis is about to inherit that is not hype anymore. That is pattern recognition from someone who knows exactly what it takes. So let's run it back one more time. 8 straight games. A 5-minute dismantling. A ball dropped quietly to the court. A press conference with 0 excuses and 0 collapse. And one sentence, spoken not like a coping mechanism but like a contract. I know I'm here and I'm here to stay. Noskova advanced. No question. But Eala announced something that no scoreline can take back. And if you've been watching her composure all season thinking it's her secret weapon, Indian Wells just gave you the proof. So here's the final question after everything you just heard. Is Alex Eala reaching the top 10 by end of 2026? Yes or no? Put it in the comment. Subscribe, and we'll revisit every single answer when Miami gets going and when the clay season starts separating the contenders from the stars. Because the scoreboard will turn cruel again. It always does. The only question left is, can anyone actually make her doubt?